Hello, kindergartners, and welcome to another day of math. Today, we are going to be exploring a new type of pattern. I am going to be using my board here to draw a pattern using these squares, and I just want you to be thinking in your brain, what kind of pattern is this? And what do you think is going to come next? So use those watchful eyes and try to figure out what type of pattern I am making. Ready? Oh, this is very interesting, kindergartners, because this is a pattern that we have not yet talked about. We are going to be discussing what a shrinking pattern is. What I drew right here is called a shrinking pattern. That means that as the pattern continues on, the number gets smaller and smaller. How many squares are right here? Let's count together. Ready? 1, 2, 3, 4. There are 4 squares right there. What about here? Let's count together. 1, 2, 3. Only 3. Notice how the pattern went from 4 down to 3. How many are right here? Let's see. 1, 2. 2. It went from 4 to 3 to 2, and finally all the way down to 1. So you can tell the pattern, as it goes on, continues to shrink. Very, very interesting. So as the pattern goes on, it's 1 fewer. Next, I'm going to be using these long rectangles to make a pattern. See if you can figure out what my pattern is. Cool. So I made another pattern. Do you agree that this is another shrinking pattern? Because it sure is. If you take a peek right here, 1, 2, 3, 4, 5. We have 5 rectangles in this stack. How many are here? 1, 2, 3, 4. 4. And how many are here? 1, 2, 3. As you can tell, the stack is shrinking or getting smaller as we keep going. If I were to continue this pattern, how many rectangles would come next, do you think? Did you say 2? Because I think so too. That would make a lot of sense to me. Awesome. Next, I'm going to try drawing one more pattern. And this time, we'll be using these diamonds. Perfect. If you think that I made a shrinking pattern, I want you to blink your eyes 3 times. I think I saw your eyes blink because this is, in fact, a shrinking pattern. Let's see how many diamonds are here together. Ready? 1, 2, 3, 4, 5. There are 5 diamonds here. 1, 2, 3. 3 diamonds here. And only 1 diamond here. Awesome. So as you can tell, this pattern gets smaller as it goes on. So it is, in fact, a shrinking pattern. How many does it shrink by, though? Does it only shrink down by 1? No, not quite, because if it did, this would be 5 here, and next would be 4. But that's not how it is. It goes from 5 down to 3. So how many did it lose to get from 5 to 3? You're right. It lost 2. It shrunk by 2. How many did it shrink by to get from 3 to 1? It also shrunk down by 2. So for a pattern to be a shrinking pattern, it always has to go down by the same amount. For this pattern, it goes down by 2 each time. Pretty cool. I like shrinking patterns a lot. Today on your workbook page, we are going to be looking at a couple more shrinking patterns. To get us started, the first thing I do is always the same. I pick up a pencil and I write my name as nicely and neatly as I can, of course. Perfect. Alrighty, the instructions say to continue each pattern one more time. So what that means is you are going to use your crayons to continue the pattern going on. So I'm going to go ahead and select my blue crayon because these triangles up here are blue. I'm going to count how many there are. Ready? 1, 2, 3, 4, 5. Perfect. 1, 2, 3, 4. Okay. 1, 2, 3. Got it. How many should come next? If I notice this pattern, there's 5 here, there's 4 here, there's 3 here. This pattern is shrinking only by 1 each time. So if I shrink it down one more time, I should be drawing only 2 triangles. Good work. I'm going to try my best to color them in really nicely. Easy peasy, lemon squeezy. Next, I'm going to grab my green crayon because these circles are green. All right, I'm going to count how many circles does it start with. 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, 6, 7. This row has 7. How many are next? 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, 6. 1, 2, 3, 4, 5. 1, 2, 3, 4. Last but not least, 1, 2, 3. Alrighty. So this pattern is also a shrinking pattern because they're getting lower and lower and lower. And it's only shrinking by 1. They're always shrinking by that top dot. Shrinking by 1. So if I shrink our pattern one more time by 1, there's going to only be 1, 2 little polka dots. Perfect, and that's it. All right, this next one looks a little tricky. I'm going to find my orange. This is as close as I have to an orange. How many blocks are in this top row? Ready? This top row right here. 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, 6. How many are in the next row? 1, 2, 3, 4, 5. How many are next, do you think? Count in your brain. Very good. Did you get 4? Awesome. I'm going to look at this last row. Looks like there's only 3. This is also only shrinking down by 1. If I shrink down 1 more, how many boxes will I be drawing? Only 2. Good work. Ooh, this one looks fun. This next one looks like a sunshine. I'm going to grab my yellow crayon. How many rays are on each sun? Let's count. 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, 6. This one has 6. This one here has 1, 2, 3, 4, 5. 1, 2, 3, 4. Oh, how many should this one have? If we have 6 here, 5 here, 4 here, looks like we're shrinking down by 1 each time. So if I shrink down 1 more from 4, I should have only 3 rays. Good work. 1, 2, 3. And if I shrink 1 more down from 3, let's see. 6, 5, 4, 3, 2. Awesome. Just like that. Looks great. Ooh, I love this workbook page. This is super fun. Alrighty, on the back, we're going to continue each pattern one more time, just like on the front. I'm going to start with my red crayon. In this top row, I see 5 polka dots. In the next row, I see 4 polka dots. And in the next row, I see 3 polka dots. How many should I draw next? You got it. If it's a shrinking pattern, that means it's getting smaller and smaller and smaller by only 1. So I'm going to draw 2 next. Oh, these last 2 are extra, extra tricky. So I need you to have your listening ears on and to really be focused on what we're doing. I do not have a purple crayon, so please be open-minded. I'm going to use black, but you are using purple if you have a purple. I notice that this purple box has 9 squares all together. I notice that this next purple square has 8 altogether. How many do you think this next one has? If we are taking 1 away each time, this one will have 7 purple squares. Good job. So if I notice up here, it looks like they took away this square. Then they took away the next square on the top. Which square do you think they're taking away to get to our next pattern? Probably the next one on the top, right? And that leaves us with 6 boxes. So I'm going to try my best to draw these teeny tiny little squares. 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, 6. Cool. So we had 9 squares, and then 8 squares, and then 7 squares, and then 6 squares. That makes perfect sense to me. That is a shrinking pattern if I've ever seen one. All right, here we go with the last one. Oh, I love the color blue. I'm so glad they're finishing with blue. I notice that there is a 5 group plus a 5 group, which makes this a group of 10. I notice that this is 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, 6, 7, 8 altogether. And this next one is 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, 6. 6 altogether. Well, I know that all these other patterns we did were shrinking patterns, but they only shrunk by 1 at a time. But if this pattern with the blue triangles was shrinking only 1 at a time, it would go from 10 down to 9. But is that what it does? No. It went from 10 down to 8, which means we shrunk by 2 blue triangles. If it were a shrinking pattern by 1, it would go from 8 down to 7. But is that what happened? No. It went from 8 to 6, which means we lost these top 2 triangles. All right, so I see a pattern here of us losing 2 triangles at a time. So to get from 10 to 8, we lost these 2 triangles. From going from 8 to 6, we lost these 2 triangles. Going from 6 to, what do you think is next? If we're losing 2 triangles every time, 4 triangles. Very good, because we lost those top 2 triangles. Oh my goodness, we solved the mystery. That one was my favorite. That one was so much fun to do. Alrighty, friends. Down here on the bottom, this is also a pattern, but instead of using shapes, they are using numbers. So I'm going to grab my erasable pencil, and I'm going to think in my brain. To get from 10 to 8, how many do we shrink by? Is it 1? No, because that would be 9. Is it 2? Yeah, that would be 8. So we shrink by 2. To get from 8 to 6, how many do we shrink by? If we only shrunk by 1, it would be 7. But is it 7? No. If we shrunk by 2, it would be 6. And it sure is 2. Now this is what makes it a pattern, friends, is that it repeats over and over and over again. So every time it's going to shrink by 2. So now we're going to think in our brain. We know it's a pattern. We know it's going to shrink by 2. So how many will go in this first blue box? If we start at 4 and we take away 2, is it going to be 3? No. Is it going to be 2? Yeah, it'll be 2. Now, if we shrink 2 by 2, what do we end at? 0. You got it. Because if we skip back 2 from 2, then we end up at 0. Awesome job. This looks awesome. If you would like to do the check for understanding, you can use your crayons to draw your own shrinking pattern. Just use your brain and try your best. You did incredible today. I'm so proud of you. Can't wait to see those beautiful workbook pages. Don't forget, you are continuing each pattern one more time. Have a great day today.